Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a real masterclass in modern expert marketing. We're deconstructing how one IP professional built this systematic machine for getting seen and drumming up new business.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start with the big picture, then dig into the brand foundation and the topic engine that really makes this thing go. From there, we'll see how he builds trust and turns all that content into actual clients. And we'll wrap up with 3 core principles you can literally copy. All right, let's dive in.
All right. Section 1, a modern marketing masterclass. We're starting with the end result, really. This is a case study in what happens when you have a perfectly executed strategy, when deep expertise meets a super disciplined approach to building a personal brand. So, who's the subject of our case study? Meet Dr. Alihan Kaya. He's an expert in intellectual property, and what he's done is pretty remarkable. He's managed to turn that deep, specialized knowledge into this really powerful, really visible presence everywhere you look online. And I want to be super clear about this. This did not happen by accident. It's a carefully, deliberately built engine. And you don't just have to take my word for it. The impact is crystal clear, and in his own words, you can see it wasn't just about shouting his expertise into the void. Nope, it was about actively creating new opportunities, and, maybe more importantly, breaking into circles where he just wasn't on the radar before. So that brings us to the big question, right? How on earth did he build this systematic engine for visibility and growth? This isn't about some kind of magic formula or just having a great personality. It's about a system. So, what are the moving parts of this machine? Let's find out. Okay, Section 2, building the brand foundation. Because this is where it all starts, right? The power of a precise niche. You see, any great system, any great machine has to be built on a solid foundation. If you don't have a super precise niche to focus on, everything else you do is just, well, it's just noise.
And Dr. Paya's brand is anything but vague. It's anchored in this incredibly specific and, let's be honest, super relevant niche he calls green IP. Think about it. The intersection of intellectual property and all things green, sustainability, new tech, you name it. That kind of precision is what makes him instantly stand out. If you're working in sustainability and innovation, he's the guy you find. What he's doing here is also really smart. He's playing this balancing act between 2 different brands. You've got the law firm brand, which signals, we're a serious organization, we have credibility. But then you have his personal expert brand, which screams, I am the authority on this one specific topic. It's a 1-2 punch that gives him the best of both worlds.
All right, Section 3, the topic engine strategy. So you've got this solid brand foundation. Great. Now you need to fuel it. But we're not just talking about random boasts here and there. He doesn't just have a content calendar. He runs what we're calling a topic engine, and this is where things get really interesting. So what's the secret to this topic engine? It's all about continuity. Instead of one-off posts that just disappear, every single piece of content he puts out there, an article, a podcast, an interview, it all hammers home that one core topic, green IP. He's not just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. He is systematically, piece by piece, building this massive, durable knowledge base around that one powerful idea.
And here you can see that engine in action. Look at this. Each format has a very specific job to do. His Deeplex, that's the deep dive, the source of truth for other specialists. His podcast, that's all about storytelling for a much broader audience, maybe people who aren't lawyers. The blog and interviews, those are the quick, practical on-ramps for people who are short on time. And then the IP management letters, that's a direct line to the decision makers. You see, it's a fully coordinated strategy, not just a random pile of content.
Now, on to Section 4, activating audience and trust. Because, let's be real, creating a bunch of great content is one thing, but building actual trust, that takes something more. It takes validation from others. And that brings us to the really clever way he uses live events.
He doesn't just see a speaking gig as a one-and-done thing. He turns these appearances into durable assets. It's this idea of an event-to-asset loop. A 45-minute talk doesn't just vanish into thin air after it's over. No way. It gets recorded, sliced into shareable video clips, the slides become a post, a powerful quote becomes a graphic. One single event gets spun into a ton of content that provides social proof and builds his credibility for months to come. And this timeline, this shows you that rhythm of credibility in action. Look at that. April, May. It's this steady, consistent drumbeat of appearances at really credible third-party events.
Every single one of these is like a signal flare to the market, saying, hey, this guy's expertise is recognized, it's valued by his peers, and you should be paying attention.
Okay, Section 5, from content to clients. This is where we connect all the dots. We've got the brand, we've got the topic engine, we've got the social proof, but how does that actually turn into business? This is all about mapping that journey from someone just hearing about them to them becoming a client.
And this is really where the magic happens. When you lay out all of his content and all of his activities, you suddenly see it. It's not random. A very deliberate, four-stage client journey appears. It's a funnel, designed to meet people exactly where they are and just gently guide them, step by step, to a decision.
And you can see that whole journey laid out right here. Step 1 is awareness. You get introduced to this idea of green IP through articles or interviews. Then, consideration. Your interest deepens because you're listening to his podcast, hearing real-world examples. Stage 3, evaluation and trust. This is huge. You see him speaking at industry events, and that builds pure acceptance. And finally, the decision. That trust is totally solidified. By this point, working with him feels like the most natural, logical next step, because he's earned that trust every step of the way. So that brings us to our final section, Section 6, 3 principles to copy. What can we all take away from this? Well, the best part is that this isn't some kind of fluke. His success is built on 3 core principles that honestly anyone can replicate.
Because this system isn't about personality or just getting lucky. It really isn't. It's about discipline. It's about applying proven patterns for building up your authority as an expert. This playbook is totally repeatable, and that's what makes it so powerful.
So here are the 3 big ones you can take to the bank. Principle number 1, think in topic clusters, not scattered posts. Build a really durable knowledge base on one core theme. Principle 2, the event-to-asset loop. Turn every single live appearance into content that lasts. And finally, Principle 3, platform synergy. Make sure all your channels are working together to create this steady, predictable rhythm of awareness and inquiry. And that really brings our whole deconstruction to a close. It leaves us with one final, pretty important question to think about. Dr. Kaya built a machine to amplify his knowledge. He built a system. So the question for you is, what's the system behind your expertise?